Hello and welcome to the Child Care Director's Chair. I am your host, Erica Saccoccio, and today this episode is for those who serve in the role as an education coordinator. We're going to talk about the 10 top tips on how to use an ECERS to improve your classroom environment. As an education coordinator, you understand the importance of creating a positive and engaging classroom environment for your young learners. One tool that can greatly assist you in achieving that goal is the Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale, or known as the ECERS. The ECERS, for those of you who don't know, is a research-based assessment tool that evaluates the quality of early childhood programs. In this episode, we will discuss 10 tips on how to effectively use the ECERS to enhance your classroom environment and promote optimal learning experiences for your students. The first tip is familiarize yourself with the ECERS. Before you can effectively use the ECERS, it is crucial to have a thorough understanding of the tool itself. So take the time to read the ECERS manual and familiarize yourself with the different subscales and indicators. This knowledge will help you accurately assess your program environment and identify areas of improvement. Now, some states offer a training on the ECERS or the ECERS, which is the infant toddler rating system, or you could find their website, and they also offer some types of webinars to help you understand the tool. We do have a short video on our YouTube channel that does address ECERS in a preschool classroom. In particular, we break it down and talk a little bit about circle time in the book area using the ECERS. But there is plenty of videos out there. Just make sure that you tap into one that is from a reliable source. And lastly, the ECERS has just been updated, so you want to make sure that you have the most recent copy. Also, using this ECERS in your classroom will help you if you decide that you are going to invest in either accreditation or a quality rating system in your state. Most states do use the ECERS as a recognized tool to improving the quality in a classroom environment. So familiarize yourself with the tool. Second is you want to conduct a self-assessment. So start by conducting a self-assessment of your classroom environment using the tool. And this will give you a baseline understanding of your current practices and the areas that need attention. And then be honest with yourself during the process and take note of any weaknesses or gaps in your environment. Almost look at them as a challenge, as, something that's going to help you propel your program and also give your staff the tools that they need as they implement curriculum in a rich learning environment. The third thing is set some goals. So based on your self-assessment, set specific goals for improving your classroom environment. These goals should be realistic. You're not going to be able to move an area from a 2 to a 7 or an 8 immediately. It does take time, and this very much is a process-based tool. Make sure that it's measurable and that it is aligned with the ECERS indicators. For example, you may aim to enhance the quality of your learning materials or increase the level of adult-child interaction. So some of the pushback that folks have had around the ECERS, which is one of the reasons they have changed it, is there seemed to be a ability for centers that charged higher tuition to get a higher ratings based on the materials that they were able to purchase. So if you work with lower income families or didn't have a large budget for materials, we do as teachers do, and we become very resourceful, and we may create learning materials out of things like cardboard boxes and tubes and, different recyclable materials. But those with bigger budgets were able to purchase many more materials. And so they looked at it and they said, are the materials the main factor, or was it the adult and child interaction with those materials. And so the new ECERS, they have balanced it out a little more so that it was a little bit more even for all types of settings across program levels. So, but set your goals so that they are realistic and that you can measure them. There are some things that you'll be able to enhance right away. And then there'll be other areas that might take a little bit longer to implement or to increase enough to be measurable. The next thing is you have to create an action plan. Once you've identified your goals, create a detailed action plan outlining the steps that you will take to achieve them. And break down each goal into smaller tasks and set the deadlines for completion. This will help you stay organized and focused on improving your classroom environment. It also makes it a lot more manageable. And then it gives you that motivation as you celebrate each of those little accomplishments along the way. So, creating a written action plan that all of your team is aware of and all of your team has a part in completing will make it much more satisfying. And as an education coordinator, make sure you also speak with the owner of your program or the board, along with your director, if there is an additional director, and anybody else on your leadership team, and get their feedback as well in terms of what can we do realistically with the budget, what resources do we have outside of the budget, whether it's people's time or talents. So look at those as well, and don't forget to look outside of your employees. Sometimes there are parents who have some skills or materials that they can bring that will help you meet some of your goals. Number 5 is seek feedback, invite colleagues or other professionals to observe your classroom to provide feedback on your environment. So many of you in the field are friends with other childcare owners or center directors. Maybe you guys can do a swap where you do an environmental rating assessment on their classroom. They can do one on yours. And it's a great way to give you fresh perspective. They can also offer valuable insights and suggestions for improvement that you haven't considered. You could even consider forming a peer support group where educators can exchange ideas and share best practices. If any of your teachers are currently enrolled in early childhood classes at the local college, they also can provide some more insight. They may be able to have college students who are in their classroom who are working on field studies come in and also do an ECERS. So there's lots of different ways that you can get feedback, but I would seek feedback for sure. Number 6, you want to involve the parents and the guardians. They play a crucial role in the child's education. So you want to keep them informed about the ECERS assessment, involve them in the process, and share the assessment results with them. Discuss your goals. If you have a parent advisory board, that's a great place to share your goals and the assessment results. And then seek their input on how to improve the classroom environment. Because collaboration with parents can really lead to strong partnerships and a more enriching learning environment for the children. 7, implementing changes gradually. Improving your classroom environment, it's a gradual process. So implement changes one step at a time. This also allows yourself and your students to adjust, because trying to make too many changes at once can be very overwhelming and honestly not yield the desired results that you want. So take it slow and be patient with the progress. Like I said, some areas will move quicker than others. You could quickly make sure that all your shelves are labeled in a couple days with the help of your team, but other things might take a little bit longer. Number 8 is you want to monitor and evaluate. So regularly monitor and evaluate the impact of the changes that you've made. We're not doing this just to get a better score on the ECERS or a better score or rating through a quality rating system. We are really truly doing this to improve our classrooms. So I need you to look at it in that way and use the ECERS tool for an ongoing assessment and reflection. Don't forget the reflection part, because it's very easy for us to get stuck on, a certain area because of the way the building is designed or the number of windows you have is not going to be something you can change. But reflect on all the things that you did change and the benefits that have for you and your students and your families and your communities. Keep track of the areas where you have seen improvement and identify any new areas that require attention. And this continuous evaluation will help you refine your practices and ensure that it is sustained. So what can happen and has happened in many programs is you might have had an A and B level teachers throughout your whole program. And in the last 4 years, maybe you've seen some of those folks retire or have left the field altogether. Now you're starting with new folks. And if you were at a 3-star level, that might have dropped in some of the classrooms because the teacher has a different teaching style or doesn't quite understand all of the components that are needed to maintain the room at the 3 or the 4 or 5-star level. So you are going to have fluctualities within your classrooms as the children dynamic changes, as classrooms graduate to the next room, the dynamic of children changes, which means you may have to make some accommodations in the classroom. Number 9 is seek professional development opportunities. Stay up to date on the latest research and best practices in early childhood education. Again, we talk about this so often, attending workshops, conferences, webinars that focus on creating optimal classroom environments. And don't forget about, when I say classroom environment, don't forget about all the areas you have access to. This includes your playground. Your playground is part of your classroom environment, and many of the materials you use inside the classroom can equally be used outside of the classroom. So don't forget about that and open up your skill set and your mind and the options. Engage in professional development opportunities to enhance your knowledge and skills and using the ECERS effectively. And lastly, celebrate your success. Success and celebrating, those things go a long way. You want to recognize and acknowledge the positive changes that you've made in your classroom environment. Make sure that these achievements are shared with your colleagues, the parents, the students. Celebrate successes not only boost the morale, but also motivate you to continue striving for excellence in your classroom. By following these 10 tips, you can effectively use the ECERS to improve your classroom environment. Remember, creating a positive, engaging learning environment is a continuous journey that requires dedication, reflection, and collaboration. Your efforts will undoubtedly contribute to the growth and development of your students, setting them up for success on their educational journey. I hope you have found these 10 tips helpful. If you have, please like, follow, or share. Thank you for tuning in to Child Care Director's Chair. See you tomorrow.